Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar. Today's presentation is entitled An Introduction to Sage Field Operations. My name is Brian Siefkes. I'm the Senior Director for Construction with Sage. And joining me today is Kathy Sherman. She's with the Operix team, and she's going to be going over Sage Field Operations for us. Before I get started, for those of you who aren't as familiar with Sage as others, we have been around for over 50 years. We are the known name when it comes to pre-construction, finance, and operation solutions within the construction space. So glad you can be joining us today. Most of you are probably familiar with our products as is, but if not, welcome and hope you enjoy what you see today. I wanted to take a little bit of time to go over some recent announcements from Sage. First and foremost, we launched, this was actually a couple years ago, our cloud finance product, right? So this is Sage Intacct Construction, and this is a full-featured construction financial management product. It's built on a product that is the only AICPA endorsed accounting platform. So we're very proud of that, of course. A few announcements attached to that. More recently, this was actually with, I think it was in October, we launched an Essentials package. So for many of our customers out there that are just coming off of QuickBooks, they're looking for something that's a little bit more cost conscious, but still gives you that robust functionality for job costing and some of the other things that come with being a construction company. We are also in the process of launching our specialty contractor package. Now, I know that's probably of big interest to the folks on the call today. We don't have this thing fully rounded out just yet, but we were in the motions of getting this out into the market. So pay attention and stay tuned as we start to make some bigger announcements about our specialty package for specialty contractors. We also have a real estate product. So we know that many in the construction industry have a tendency to stay on with some of the properties that they build, and they stay on to manage those properties. So we have a full system around managing that property, leases, tenants, and all the different things that come along with that. We also have our construction management product. So this is a big one. We acquired a company called CoreCon in early 2023. We have recently relaunched that product as construction management. I got to tell you, all the shows that we go to, this is the number one thing that everybody is asking about. So this is a great product for helping you manage your jobs in just about every facet of the way that you can. So I encourage you guys to take a look at construction management. And of course, Bid Matrix and estimating. So this is our most recent announcement. We acquired Bid Matrix as a product to really boost the pre-construction and the estimating process. We've done quite a few webinars on those. And if you get a chance to join and take a look at one of those webinars, I encourage you to do that as well. And one other thing I want to talk about here, and that's, when it comes to purchasing any new applications, or doing business with Sage in general, I think the thing that makes us so much better than everyone else on the market is our partner network. We have definitely the largest and most trusted partner network in the industry. They have worked with thousands of companies of all shapes and sizes and service types. So, it's not just about buying a new application and then transferring your data over there and learning how to use the new system and doing your old ways in a new software system. No, it's much more than that, right? And our partners are there to help you not just transition technology, but to grow your business. So doing business with Sage, you can trust you're doing business with the best partner network. And just to level set a little bit, Sage does business across the board within the construction industry. I think we all realize that construction is a pretty broad term, right? There's this massive ecosystem of types of companies that fall into this category, whether you're a home builder, obviously specialty contractors, which is probably going to be a large portion of our audience today, residential contractors, developers, energy, you name it, Sage does business with them. And that's one of the things that we're trying to make sure that we can do is create packages that really speak to some of these varieties, because there's a lot of nuance and a lot of different needs within some of these sub-markets within the construction vertical. So we want to make sure that we're delivering products that meet exactly what your company's needs are. So without further ado, I will go ahead and hand things over to Kathy, and Kathy's going to walk us through Sage Field Operations. Kathy, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. As Brian mentioned, my name is Kathy Sherman. I am from the Sage Field Operations team. And today we are going to just dive right in and give you a glimpse of how we can extend Intacct into the field. Basically, think of this as some excerpts from a day in the life of a technician. So what you're looking at now on the screen is an my assignment for work order 3352 for Allstate University. So I am going to go ahead and drag over my iPad. I thought it would be great to illustrate this from our app on our iPad to give you a glimpse of what the technician would be seeing if they're using an iPad. So right now I am, or any tablet, it would look the same if it wasn't an iPad and it was an Android tablet. So I am starting work order 3352. I have already punched into this work order. So now I have options. Do I want to take a break, lunch? Am I going to suspend this and come back the next day, or am I going to complete it? So here are your options. I can get service site history by drilling down into this Allstate University. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now I'm looking at the history. So I have my work order history. I can drill down into specific pieces of equipment and see what, drilling down into those, what work has been performed on those specific pieces of equipment. And now I'm going to drill back to the work order that we're going to be completing today. So now in work order 3352, I can still drill down to the service site history with this blue hyperlink for the location. If I was scheduled to work on any piece of equipment, I would see that here, or any notes left from my back office would be here. I'm going to call your attention to the plus sign. I call these my breadcrumbs. And when I push that, it gives me a whole list of buttons or places that I can go to complete my work. The first one I'm going to go to is adding parts. What you see here when I say click on select parts, I'm going to start to type in an inventory item. In this case, let's say I'm going to pull in a steel gauge sheet, 18 by 12. I'm going to go ahead and select that. Put my quantity down here. Let's see, I need 2 of these. And then I'm going to select my stocking location. Down at the bottom of the screen, you can see different warehouses. So Pete's truck, my main warehouse, and in parentheses right to the right of that warehouse is the quantity on hand. This is real-time quantity on hand because we're extending the inventory module and we are selecting from what is on hand at this point in time. I'm going to go ahead and pull these off of my truck, and I'm going to submit these sheets of steel gauge, and I am adding this part. Now that my part is added, I have the ability to add notes. So a couple different ways we can add notes. We can do talk to text, and we can text those, talk those right into here. Let's go ahead and do that. Our work has been completed, period. It's as easy as that. I also have the option to select this drop-down arrow right here, and I can pick pre-canned responses. So if I wanted to have some standard language that we've already configured, I can pull that in right here. And I can also have notes to the office, which can also have canned responses. Selecting those, maybe I want them to know that there's a safety issue on site, and maybe somebody needs to reach out to the safety manager to review that. Let's go ahead and submit my notes. All right, let's come back to our breadcrumbs. And we can also, I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to punch out. So let's complete this. Complete my assignment. Once my assignment is completed, I can add attachments. So if I wanted to add an attachment, I would click Add Attachment, choose File, and from here I can take a photo, choose from an existing camera roll, or add another file attachment. I'll go ahead and cancel out of that. And I am going to create my service report. Go ahead and click the Create Service Report button. And now you'll see some forms. So we can have forms recommended or required on different types of work orders, different client sites. I'm gonna not complete a form today. I'm just going to continue. I'm going to create my service report. And here is my service report pulling in my items, my labor. As I come down here, I can add comments, and I can also capture signatures. I'm going to go ahead and accept this work order. And from here, if I had pre-configured this to be emailed right to the site, those emails have already been sent with our service report. And now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create the invoice. So this would be the case if your technician was allowed to create the invoice. They can do so from their tablet. Sometimes this is not an option that technicians are given, so it would depend on your particular scenario. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, I haven't reviewed it. It's going to take me to my invoicing screen where I'm going to say invoice all. And I'm going to go ahead and create that invoice. My invoice is now created. When I get this message, I'm going to return to my work order page. And in the attachment section, you can see I have a new PDF attachment. I go to my attachment section, and I now have my invoice report right here. I can click on that. I can look at that. There is my invoice. And now what we're going to do, let me move this over for 1 second. I'm going to go to the order entry module. Pull up the order entry module here. And the very top one, $382. This is the work order that we just completed. And it's already been invoiced in the order entry module. If I go to my posting details, it's going to tell me the proper debits and credits depending on how we have set up the system. And now I'm going to go to accounts receivable and show you that invoice is already posted in accounts receivable. Here it is, this $382. Now let me go ahead and bring my app back on the screen. And now what we're going to do is we're going to collect payment in the field. So right by the invoice, you'll see this drop-down arrow here. I'm going to go ahead and collect payment. I have a terminal to use for demo purposes, and I'm going to say I just swipe the card or I put in all the information, and I'm going to send this payment process in for my credit card. My transaction is successful, and I have just collected payment in the field. It's going to add some notes to the notes field here, and you give it 1 second here. And you're going to see here that the payment has been successful. And here is the date, and it's marked paid. So now I'm going to once again pull this over to my other screen. And I'm going to refresh this screen that we're on here for this, this invoice, $382. Let me go ahead and refresh this. And now you can see that this invoice is already marked paid. So the payment that I just processed in the field has been posted. We can go ahead and view this invoice. And you can see that this was noted paid in full for that amount we collected when our technician was in the field. So it's that quick to have that come from the mobile app and extend right to that accounts receivable module. So we've talked about a little bit about entering your time in the field with the app. We've talked about inventory extending. We talked about order entry posting and collecting payments in the field. When you subscribe to Sage Field Operations, you also, as part of that platform, we get what's called a custom work order dimension. So if I switch to my Intact dashboards here, you can see I have one for services, and I have many different dash parts here. One of them is my open work orders. I can drill down into these open work orders, so we're extending Sage Field Operations to my dashboards here. And when we extend this information, we're not only bringing the work order number, we're also bringing the customer, the location, the department. If it's a work order that has estimated repair hours, we're bringing that. So we're extending all of that information into our dash parts and our custom reports so that we can report off of all of that information that you just saw captured. So here are open purchase orders by work order. And as I scroll down, you can also have other different dash parts or reports that are important to you. Maybe callbacks are important to you, or preventative maintenance invoicing and work orders. Whatever the need, this is where you can narrow that down to what you're interested in seeing and extend all of your service information to your dashboards here in Intacct. So we talked about this custom work order dimension. Now I'm going to flip back here into Sage Field Operations. And I wanted to mention that we also have agreements. So when we create an agreement, I'm going to quickly do one. I think that's the best way to illustrate this. We would call up our service location. Let's stick with that Allstate University, tied to my customer, Bill Rickey Holdings. And as I scroll down, I would first pick my agreement type. But what I really want to call your attention to, and I think this is a pretty powerful tool. So let me go ahead and say this is 12 months. How much are we going to be billing? Let's say $500. I can put an estimate in here. And down here, I can say, what equipment do we want covered by this agreement? Maybe I'll just pick all. I'm going to add these pieces of equipment. And as I scroll down even further, here is where I can schedule this preventative maintenance. So let's say I have quarterly work that I want to schedule. I can go ahead and say, let's schedule this quarterly work. When are we going to start it? We can pick our custom dates, choose dates. But what we can also do is set our lead time. So every quarter, when it's time to do this work, maybe I want to set a lead time of 14 days. These work orders are going to appear in our scheduler, and we won't have to come in here and look for them. They will automatically appear based on our lead time. And I can give more description here if I needed to, and I could call this preventative maintenance, and I could say this is for my full coverage agreement, what equipment is covered by this. But the beauty of this is I can create as many preventative maintenance schedules for this agreement as I need to. So if I do some work quarterly on certain pieces of equipment, and then maybe I do something else annually on different pieces of equipment or all of the pieces of equipment, I can keep adding PM schedules to this agreement. And then I would click Create an Agreement. It's that simple. It's very powerful, and it takes away all of the pain of having to remember when our technicians need to go out there, when do we need to create these work orders, because the schedule will be auto-generated. So very powerful tool there. Lastly, the thing I wanted to touch on is our business intelligence tool. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over to that now. So one caveat here that I do want to say is this is still in beta. I'm going to say it's in beta. It hasn't been released. It will be released in the second quarter of this year, 2024. So stay tuned. But I did want to give everyone a glimpse of what we've been working on so you can see where Sage Field Operations is headed. So right now I'm on the view of my work orders. And from here I have my operational dashboard. I have my date range is always going to be where I'm circling in the upper right-hand corner. I'm always going to be able to filter by various additional information. So if I click filter here, I can click by, I can filter by a specific customer, service location, call types, problem codes. You can read equipment class, work order status, PM, etc. And apply those filters. And then you have general information, work orders in the last 30 days, or completed work orders, or urgent work orders. So it's giving you these metrics of what's important from an operational basis. I can also see my first time fix rate. We're at 100%. We're doing awesome. I can also see my mean time to response, my mean time to resolution. So all of these metrics metrics are going to be on the screen, as well as new versus completed PMs. And if I ever wanted to see the detail related to the bars and the charts and the graphs, I can right click and I can drill through and get to the support and export that if I need to. So I'm always going to be able to get through to that. Another one I want to showcase is our agreements. And it's pulling up agreement overview, and then I'm going to switch to preventative maintenance. So now I'm looking at our preventative maintenance schedules and our agreements here. So it's going to tell me how many are open, how many are completed, PMs by status. And I can also, similar to what you saw on that other screen, I can filter and get more specific if I wanted to look for that specific customer or specific service location. I'm able to do that as well. And then on the upper right-hand side, I'm always going to be able to narrow this down further by given dates. Now let's flip to our management view. And now I'm looking at more, a slightly different metric, how much have we invoiced, right? Here we come to those dollars. How much have we invoiced in the last 7 days? Did we have any new sites or have we won any quotes? Calls completed, calls open, our backlog, and our charts and graphs related to all of those metrics. And then to take it a step further, and this is something I'm pretty excited about, I'm going to go to our forecasting module. I'm going to arrow this date out a bit and go into the future here. And now we're looking at the past, what's in blue, but we're also looking at how we're forecasting this in the future. So based on prior year's performance, what does it look like we're going to do in the next 3 months here? What are we trending? It's looking at the trends on this. It's looking at seasonality, all of those important pieces to be able to do the forecasting. And now let's take it a step further. And like I said, this is still in progress. This is not complete yet, but I do want to show it. So now, taking that same logic, let's go ahead and bump this out here. Taking that same logic of dollars, and now think of it in the hours basis. So what's one of our important topics lately is the labor shortage, right? Nobody seems to be able to have enough labor. We have to think smarter. How can we utilize our staff better? We need to plan. So this would be a great tool for that. It's not only looking at what we've done in the past, but what we're going to be doing with this is looking at where we're projecting our forecast in hours to be in the future, and then analyzing this against how many full-time equivalents we have, and will we have enough staff to handle those forecasted hours? So taking it that step further, not only forecasting it in dollars, but are we going to have the staff to be able to meet all of our work that we have listed? So like I said, we're very excited about this module. Looking forward to seeing the final product. It's getting closer and closer every day. We have some customers that we have in beta, and they are helping us adjust it, and we are listening to them, and we are kind of adjusting on the fly and making it even stronger each day. So very excited. Stay tuned for the final product. I have now brought us back to our assignment page. Just to recap, I wanted to go over a couple things that we just talked about. What you saw was the app on a tablet. It is available for a smartphone. If you have an iPhone or an Android, the app is available to be used on those as well. The only difference between what you saw today on a tablet would be the amount of real estate that the technician would have, but it is available for those devices as well. In terms of offline functionality, the app does have offline functionality, so you can add time. You can either add a flat amount of time or use the punch in, punch out buttons that you saw. You can add parts from the warehouses offline, and you can add notes as well. So those are the current functionality that we have offline, and that is growing every month or two as well as we're continuing to increase the offline functionality of our app. We also talked about how we can extend the Intacct and the different modules into the field. So some of the ones we talked about was order entry and accounts receivable and the cash receipts. So the invoicing of the work order and taking the payment in the field if applicable. We didn't talk about purchase orders today, but you can create purchase orders and it's going to go right into the purchasing module. We did talk about inventory and how it is real time, utilizing the items you have in the inventory module, as well as the warehouses that you have in the inventory module. And last but not least, we talked about the custom work order dimension that you can use to build out your dash parts and your custom reports related to work orders and service as well. So thank you very much for taking the time to sit with me today and sit with Brian and go through all of the exciting points that we have on Sage Field Operations. At this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Brian. Brian?
All right. Thank you, Kathy. That was good stuff as always, and appreciate everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Sage team or anybody else, and we'll help you get those questions answered. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.